When you came back from France, renewed hope, belief, going to make this better, going to turn this around, an infusion of optimism. Tell me what that felt like. Or am I overstating it?
I was very excited in Paris. I mean, I was meeting all these top scientists. I met the executive director of RSRT, the RETT Syndrome Research Trust, which we joined. I met other families who were like-minded that wanted to do something. I didn't feel so alone. We had hope. So I came back thinking, I need to be involved, and I have to do something.
What'd you do?
I don't know if I started planning did I start planning the fundraiser first or join the board of RSRT first? I don't remember which one I did first.
Kind of all happened simultaneously.
Yeah, I said
Emotionally. You came back from France, you held your daughter in your arms. You looked into her eyes. Did you say, sweetheart, we're going to get beyond this?
Oh yeah, we're going to find a cure for you.
Same reaction? Less convinced? Were you thinking more in terms of what it would take to raise the funds, to do the research, to hire the scientists, to da-da-da-da?
Yeah, I was completely energized coming back. Before I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't know what. I came back and I had a purpose. I had a what. I had something, I had a goal, at least in my mind, of what needed to be done. So I had a target I could kind of shoot for. And I personally work better knowing, okay, I've got to get from point A to point Z, and I know what all the steps are, and I knew kind of generically what the steps were going to be, but what needed to be done, more importantly.
And most importantly, what were you now observing with your daughter after you returned from France till today?
Well, she has actually regained some of those skills that she lost, which was phenomenal. And she, I taught her how, I cut she was not able to, she was having trouble chewing and swallowing, so I cut the food very small. I found that she chewed better on her left side, so I'd put the little bites in and move her jaw up and down. She got the hang of it. One other time, she also got a cold and stopped chewing and swallowing again, and I had to do the same kind of thing again. But ever since then, knock wood, she's able to eat. So, most girls with Rett syndrome have a feeding tube. Hannah doesn't. You can see, you met Hannah, she's solid, she's strong, which is just, her muscle tone is just fantastic. So she's come so far. I taught her to walk up and down the stairs again. I taught her to jump on the trampoline again.
You taught her how to walk up and down the stairs again.
Yeah.
Physically got down on the ground.
I did.
And moved her legs, feet, over time.
Yeah.
And she regained that skill.
I just sang to her, and I made up songs that, little rhyming songs, and I just held onto her hips because I knew she'd probably feel more steady if I held her hips. And just sang, and we just walked up and down the stairs till she, first it was she had to hold everything onto me. Then she had to hold, my hand and the railing. Then she had to, just hold my hand or just the railing. And now she can actually just walk up and down the stairs by herself.
I've been here most of the day. I've seen her go swimming.
Yeah.
I've seen her dancing to early Beatle tracks.
Yeah.
I've seen her eat her quesadillas.
Hannah asked for them.
Indeed.
I know. She's amazing.
Giving Eskimo kisses?
What happened?
Well, this is from my perspective. Heidi wouldn't, I don't know if she would.
We'll ask.
She doesn't take as much credit as she should, but the doctors, in terms of professionals that operate in this disease specifically, told me very specifically what your wife did in teaching your daughter all of those skills that she lost, working with her, that mother's intuition, whatever you want to call it, doing that. And in addition, Heidi did something on her own without talking to medical professionals or researchers. She ramped up all of Hannah's therapies, the physical therapies and exercise, so the swimming that you referenced. All of these things that she just felt were the right thing to do were exactly the right thing to do from the specialist medical professional perspective.
So you knew that internally as a woman. You didn't need no doctor or scientist to tell you that this is what you need to do. You just followed your
My gut.
natural maternal gut instinct to do what mothers do with their children. And the result of that is what we're observing today. Is that too simplistic, or
I think
could that
so.
be?
I mean, I love you so much.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of her, so I like talking about it, bragging about it.
I mean, I did do all those things, but I think it's not just, and I'm sure there's plenty of other parents out there who are trying too, but their children are not having the same reaction.
That was going to be my next question.
I think it's the early intervention.
I know that played a big part in it. If we hadn't done anything, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want to diminish any efforts other parents are making, because I'm sure there are other
Absolutely.
parents that are trying so hard and they're not getting the same results. And I would not ever want to say to these parents,
True.
oh,
Very
well, I
true.
must have done a better job than you, because
Right.
that's not the case. I'm sure there's so many parents out there who've tried everything, but their children, their daughters were just hit so hard. There's just no coming back.
Speak to those parents, if you can. Just speak to those who are watching you, who are saying, gosh, I'm doing the same thing that Heidi
I know.
did.
It's not fair.
And I'm not getting the same. Could you say something to them? You can look over my shoulder at that machine, or you can just look at my eyes, and the message will still get through. But those mothers need to hear from you.
Don't beat yourself up. I mean, you can only do your best. And I try so hard with Hannah to do so many things that I wish she could do more. And I sometimes think with all the things we're doing, she has 27 appointments a week. I mean, I have to juggle so many.
27 appointments with therapists per week.
Yes. It's a lot to juggle. And I still feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like, maybe if I tried harder, she'd be able to do, she'd be able to, pull her pants up all by herself if I tried just a little bit harder. Maybe she'd be able to wash her hands all by herself if I tried just a little bit harder. Maybe she'd be able to tell me what, hurts when she's sick if I tried just a little bit harder. So,
Do you believe that Hannah understands internally everything that's going on, the way a child of her age and her environment, would she know some people came to visit her today?
she knew. Oh yeah, she saw Steve with the camera. She kept looking over like, I see you're filming me. I don't know if you noticed, she kept looking over like, you guys are not talking about the elephant in the room here. That's what she kept looking at me and looking at him like,
So her
why isn't anyone
mental
discussing this to me?
processes would be equivalent to a child of her age who did not have the syndrome?
I can't
Do we
prove it
know
to you.
that?
I can't prove it to you, but I will tell you this. So you may not hear much out of her for 2 or 3 months. And then you can say to her, Hannah, what was your favorite thing about today? And on that particular day, we had spent a lot of time together as a family. And she looked right at me and said, family. I said, are you telling me that your favorite thing you did is spending time with your family today? She said, yes. Not yeah, which is what she normally says, but a perfectly crisp yes. On another occasion, I was acting goofy. I was with her behavior therapist, and we were acting goofy. We were doing, I don't know what we were doing, but I was like thinking to myself, I am so silly right now. And from the back seat, I hear, silly. Or the time when we were trying to get her to climb the slide, and she says, as she breathes like that, afraid to fall. So yes.
Afraid to fall.
Afraid to fall, yes. So But will I hear that for the next month or two? Maybe nothing. And then I'll hear a gem like that. At 2.5, I took her to see Jennifer, her big sister, was having a play date with another big kid, and she'd seen different cartoons, you know. And as we're driving over there, I kept saying how we were going to go see, we were going to go have a play date, a big kid play date. And then she says, and I said, you're the little kid, but you get to go on a big girl play date with your big sister. And she says, Max and Ruby. You know, Ruby and Max, there's a cartoon where
Yes.
the little boy's always trying
Yeah.
to play with the big sister play date. So she made that, you know, compare it like she got that, you know.
Is it too simple to suggest she's got it? She just has problems explaining it to us or communicating it to us.
Before she had before she had her diagnosis, I said, it's like she speaks another language. She doesn't speak English.
She speaks another language she doesn't speak in.
That's how it felt.
Heidi always said this. It's a very simplistic way to look at it, but I think it makes a lot of sense. It's like the symphony orchestra. All the instruments are there. All the musicians are there, perfectly aligned. They look wonderful. They're all in black tie and tails. But the conductor keeps walking off the stage, back on the stage. Sometimes stays a little longer and the music is harmonious. Sometimes gets distracted and walks off the stage and doesn't come back for an hour or two, and then comes back.
That's a good
We
message.
So
know
Hannah's
the
there waiting for the
orchestra
country.
is there.
Yeah, she's waiting for the, like sometimes she knows, like she wants to say something, and you can see she's frustrated, and she starts to hyperventilate, and she starts to get anxious because she wants to get that word out.
And you can
So
see it in
badly.
her eyes. And all the RETT girls, any parents that you talk to, any of the parents we meet, all the girls communicate with your eyes. You can see in her eyes she wants to say something. She wants to be part of the conversation, or she knows someone's talking about her.
Yes.
If you
I
talk
agree
about her
with
condition in front of her, she gets extremely upset. I won't do
Yeah.
it. That's why I said if we were going to talk, she had to be in another room. Because
If
who
we
wants to?
talked about her condition,
Who wants to be talked about like that, right? Wouldn't it make any of you upset if someone was talking about something personal and horrible that was like? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, in the last year, maybe year and a half, we've realized when we're leaving or we're going to do something or someone's coming over, we have to explain it to her before we go out. We'll say, look, Hannah, Mommy and Daddy or we just did it this weekend on Friday. We went away for the weekend for the first time, just the two of us in a while. And I said, Mommy and Dad are going away. We're going to be going on a drive, but we'll be back Sunday morning. I just wanted to let you know your grandma Ellen's going to be here, and her weekend nanny was going to be here, and you're going to have swimming in your schedule. And she looked at me and she went, okay. Now, had we not said that, and we just walked out the house with the suitcases, maybe all kids would be that way, and we just said, look, we'll be back on Sunday, we're going away, she could get very upset, and because she knows we're gone. And so, you know, but as long as we explain it, just like any normal, typically developing child, she's
And sometimes she
fine.
says no. I'll say to her, she's having a great time. I drop her off at school, and I say, Mommy, I can't pick you up today. And she's, no, and she gets really upset. She understands what I'm saying. All of a sudden, going from happy not, because I said I couldn't pick her up today, someone else is coming.
Or I had to go pick her up one day.
And she was so
And had-
excited because it was a special treat.
She had told her she couldn't pick her up, and I needed to come pick her up, and I hadn't picked her up in school in months. And I came into the school, and as soon as she saw me, she just lit up, beaming, and basically went around to all her friends.
Mm-hmm.
And in her own way, I could tell she was standing behind them, and I could tell by her eyes that she was kind of looking at them, saying, "That's my dad."
Oh, wow.
And went around to all the kids, and it was, but she couldn't, you know, she wouldn't take their hand or tap them on the shoulder. She couldn't point at me and say, "That's my dad." She kind of walked behind them and stood there, looked at me. I knew